Hello and welcome to today's tutorial. We will be making an alien shooter game using just JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. This will be a great training tutorial for everyone trying to learn HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, or is a game-making enthusiast. With the game, we will also implement some core features like score, wave, and difficulty systems. So without further ado, let's jump straight in. We will begin in VS Code. In here, we will create index.html file to begin outlining our game. Inside, I will begin by changing the title into Alien Shooter. Then I will add a container div to our body. I will create another div for our game info. Inside the game info, we will have a score and wave divs with classes score display and wave display. To our score display by default, we will have score 0, and to our wave, we will have wave 1. I will add the numeric values and span tags with IDs so we can manipulate them easier later on. Under the game info div, we will add a difficulty buttons container, which we will use as a difficulty menu for our game. In our menu, we will have 3 buttons with class difficulty button, and each button will have its respectful data difficulty equal to the button value. Under the difficulty button section, we will have a canvas with ID game canvas, which will render our game. Under our canvas, we will create a game over screen, which will display a game over message when the player is hit. To do this, we will have a div with class game over overlay. Inside it, I will create another div with class game over content, which will have an H2 tag with the text game over, P tag displaying the final score, and a button to restart the game. And for the last part of our game's UI, we will create a instruction box with how to play explanation for our player. Inside it, I will use an unordered list to quickly give guidance to our players. Here we can say things like, use the arrow keys to move your spaceship, press spacebar to shoot, destroy all aliens in a wave to advance, and avoid being hit by their projectiles. At the end, I will just add a button with the text "Got it," which we will use later to start the game. And we look about done. Let me just quickly save this and check. And it looks like I missed the text for the wave counter. Let's just add it quickly. Now in our browser, it looks like just a text and a few buttons, but this gives us a nice foundation to build our game. Now let's style our game. In order to display this better, I will use an extension named Live Server, which will update our page each time we save. That way, it will be easier to explain the changes that I'm doing. Feel free to install this extension for VS Code or follow along by refreshing the page on every save. First thing first, let's link a style.css to our index.html file. Now let's create the CSS file. To start off, let's add margin 0, display flex, justify content center, a line item center, a black background, our font family and overflow hidden to our body. Now, for the time being, I will comment out the black background so we can style the rest of our game. To our container, I will add text align center, and it appears that I didn't quite added our font, so let's do this really quickly. Back to our container, I will add width 100%, max width 600 pixels, in box sizing border box. Now to our game canvas, I want to add a background color, which will be a radial gradient, a border with purple color, box shadow with blue tint, width of 100%, border radius of 16 pixels, set the height to auto, set the max height to 80 vertical height, and set the aspect ratio to 3/4. Now for our game over screen, which is our game over overlay, we will use position absolute, top 0, left 0, width 100%, height 100%, black background color with slight opacity, display flex, flex direction column, justify content center, a line item center, color white, font size of 1.5 rem, and ZID index 10. For the time being, I will set display none for the game over overlay so we can continue styling the rest of our game. Actually, let's add a border to the game over screen so it's outline a little better. To do this, I will add a orange 4-pixel solid border, border radius of 8 pixels, and padding of 16 pixels to our game over content. Now let's continue with our restart button and difficulty buttons. To them, I will add a margin top of 20 pixels, padding horizontal and vertical padding of 10 and 20 pixels. Font size of 1 rem, color white, bluish background color, border none, border radius of 8 pixels, cursor pointer, our font family, a slight transition and margin of 4 pixels. For a simple hover effect, I will add a slightly darker blue color when our buttons are hovered. Let's also add a even darker blue color and box shadow when our button is active so we can see which difficulty is selected. For our game info, I will add a color white, margin bottom of 8 pixels, font size of 0.8 rem, display flex, justify content space around, and width of 100%. Let's hide our game canvas temporary so we can check the changes to our game info. To our score display, I will add a border with 2 pixels in solid, and in our game info, I will set the background color to black so we can see it. In the score display, I will also add a border radius of 8 pixels, padding of 8 pixels, margin left 10 pixels, and min width of 80 pixels. Let's replicate the same for our wave display. To our instruction box, I will add top of 50%, left of 50%, transform translate of -50% and -50%, and position absolute black background color with slight opacity, bluish border of 4 pixels solid, border radius of 8 pixels, padding of 1 rem, color white, Z index 11, text align center and max width 80%. To the H2 tag inside our instruction box, I will add font size of 1.2 rem, margin bottom of 0.5 rem, and a yellowish color. To the UL inside the instruction box, I will add a list style none in order to remove the bullets. Padding 0 and margin bottom 0.6 rem or maybe 1 rem would be better. I will also add a font size of 0.6 rem, and to the instruction box LE element, I will add margin bottom 0.25 rem in order to space each statement. And to the button inside the instruction box, I will add a padding of 0.5 rem and 1 rem width and height, bluish background color, color white, our font family, border radius of 0.375 rem, cursor pointer, a slight transition, font size of 0.75 rem, and border none. And again, when we hover the button, we want to have a slightly darker color. And finally, we want to go back and restore the background color for the body, set our how to play instruction to display none by default, add min height 100 VH to our body, and remove the black background from our game info. And that's all for the styling part now. We can begin coding our game logic. Actually, a slight note here. Our instruction box should be visible by default, so I will remove the display none here. And that will be all for this video. To continue this project, you can check the part 2 in my channel, where we will code the logic for our game using JavaScript. If you like this content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your support is appreciated. As always, stay frosty, and I will see you in the next one.